Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to another video of CAD Lab 2. In today's video, we are going to discuss the helical sweep command. So, with helical sweep, you can make helix of different sizes and shapes, and you can see two of them. So, I want to show you basically the different parameters that you will be needing to define the helix object or a helical object. So the first thing that the ProE or Creo will ask you to make the profile, and that profile will be made through the sketcher menu. So profile basically gives you the overall size and shape of the helix that you will be generating. In this case, this boundary lines of the straight cylindrical spring, you can say, is the profile of this particular helix. So this is the shape, and that shape is a straight line. So if you look into the second one, so we have a profile shape of a straight line, and then it goes at certain angle. So we have a slanted line, and then from this point to this point again we have a straight vertical line. So this is basically the profile of this second helical object. So this is one parameter that you will be defining. And then of course you will need to define an axis for that. So then you have to define the section. So section is basically the cross-sectional area of that solid generated object that you will be generating. So it can be a circular section, it can be a square, it can be any closed profile basically. So you need to define the section also. So that is the second parameter. So you have to define the section, you have to define the profile, and then also you have to define the axis, because the helix is a revolved object, and normally when you have a profile or you can say a section, so that section is generating along a helix, and as well it moves along the axis. So that helix will be basically revolving around certain axis, and that axis will also be defined by the user. And basically the relation in between the profile, for example अगर इसके लिए आप profile बनाएंगे, so that should be a straight line. So the distance between the straight line and the axis of revolution will basically give you the radius of that particular helix. And of course the next parameter that you will be needing is the pitch value. So you have to define the pitch value also. So the pitch value can be constant, it can be variable. So यहाँ पे अगर आप देखें, so we have a constant pitch value throughout the length of that particular helix. But in this case, the pitch value is smaller at the start point, and then gradually it is increasing. If you look properly to this particular helix, so we have a smaller value for the pitch, and then gradually that pitch value increases, and this is because of an option that I have used, which is known as variable pitch option. So these are the parameters that you will be defining when you work in the helical sweep command. So I am in the part menu. I will go to insert, और insert में अगर आप देखें, so you have the helical sweep option available over here. Next video में we will cover this swept blend option. So today we are going to discuss about the helical sweep. So like other options, when you activate the helical sweep, so all the defined options are available, sub options जो सब कहते हैं. So you can make a solid helix, thin protrusion, or you can have a surface option. And if you already have some part and you want to remove or cut that helix from that existing solid, so you can use then the cut option. So again, we do not have anything, so these are unavailable. So आज हम ये कट का ऑप्शन भी कर लेंगे इसके साथ साथ. But let us start creating some helical objects through the solid protrusion command. So I will go for helical sweep and then protrusion. So again, this dialog box appears and it will guide you through the steps. So first you have to define the attributes, because the arrowhead is at the attributes and we are in the defining phase. The first two options are regarding the pitch value. So the helix that will be generated will have a constant pitch value or variable. So that will depend on you कि कौन सा आप select करते हैं. So let us start with the constant option, and then you can use the trajectory option, normal to trajectory option, or through. So again, it is an advanced option, so we will not be covering this one. I will use the through axis option. So as I said that you will be needing to define an axis and a profile. So I will define the axis. So I am selecting the constant pitch. I will make a helix using the axis option, and this is type of thread or type of helix you can say. So you can select the right-handed threads or left-handed threads. So that will depend on the part, and later on you can always go back to the attributes and you can change. So let it be right-handed. So these are my settings. Okay, and then the arrowhead jumps to the next option, which is the sweep profile, and it is in the defining phase. यहाँ पे आपने profile define करना होगा. What is profile? Profile, I said that it is the boundary line of that thread that you will be defining. Okay? So let us make the same threads like I show you here. This one, the first one, this one. So for profile, you have to sketch. So I will select the front plane as my sketching plane. Again, let me put that. So let me refresh the monitor. Sometimes it stucks because of the updates going on. So insert helical sweep protrusion. In attributes, I will select the constant through axis right-handed. Then plane, I will select the front plane and the positive view direction. Okay, and default will be the right side. So it has taken me to the sketch menu, and here I will define the profile. So suppose I take a line and make a straight line. So by default, the start point of the line or the any entity, it will be taken as the start point of the helix. You can again change it by selecting the other point and right click and then like this one. So you can change your start point by selecting a point and then right click again. So this will be the start point of the helix. So let me now I can set this dimension, let us say 200 units. So suppose if I want to take this as my axis of revolution, so the radius of the helix will be 100 units. And you can set the dimensions of the profile as well, let it be 300. So at this point, now if I click on the check mark button, so again it will give you that error, and error is the axis of revolution. So as I told you that it is a revolve object, so for revolution you must define the axis. So we have not yet defined that. So let me go to the line tab once again and select that center line option, और यहाँ पे मैं डिफाइन कर देता हूँ, and that distance was already being defined, which was 100 unit. So our axis of revolution is at 100 unit distance from the profile. So this will be the profile and this will be the axis of revolution. And now when you click at this check mark button, so then it will ask you that pitch value. So after the profile, now you will be giving the pitch value for the helix. So यहाँ पे जो भी आप value देंगे, let it be 30 units. So again it will go to the next tab, which is the section. So now you have to define that section for the thread, and again you can see this crosshair. So that crosshair basically gives you the start point of that profile which we have defined. So इसको अगर मैं थोड़ा सा tilt कर दूँ, this is our line, which is the profile, and this is that crosshair which is directly located at the start point of that particular profile. So if I change my view to the sketch view, which is this one, so here now I can define at this start point directly, I can define my section. For example, the helix, if I want it to be a circular section, so what I can do is that I can make a circle and then I can set the diameter for that. So the pitch value was 30 units. So 30 units means it should be, diameter should be less than that 30 units, so that you have the required spacing in between them. So let it be 20 units. And I will click on the OK button. So now I have defined the profile, which is a straight line, and I have defined a pitch value and a section also. Now if you want to check the preview, so this is that preview. You have a straight profile which you can change at any time. You can change the attributes. So if I go back to the attributes, and instead of right-handed, if I select the left-handed, so look at the start point of the threads. So if when I click on the done button, so it will change the direction. So let me preview that. So that is the next preview. So initially it was right-handed, and now I have changed it to left-handed. So again, if I change it to right hand and now I click on the preview, so it will change the direction. So this is about the left-handed, right-handed. Pitch value, if you change that, let us say to 40 units, review it, so pitch value will change. Section, if I change the diameter, let us say to 10 units, OK, check the preview. So this is how you can do the changes. If I go to the profile, modify it, done. Let me remove that vertical constraint, and now if I want to change the angle of that, so now this will be your profile of the thread. So now look at the resultant. So this was that profile. So if I go back to the sweep profile, modify it, done, and suppose instead of a line, I have, let us say, an arc. Okay, this is that preview. So you can use any profile for your helix. And like the other point, uh, you can go back to the sections. I can delete that section. Okay, I will have a let me change the pitch value to 30 units. Okay, again I will go to the edit definition. I will go to the section and I am changing this value, let us say, to 20 units. And this also, let us say, to 20 units. So I will have a square. Okay. Now if you want to check the preview, this is that desired shape that you will get. So it will totally depend on the profile and the section and the pitch value. It is as simple as that. Okay. Let me again use the variable pitch option mode. Okay. So if I use the insert key, go to helical sweep, protrusion, and instead of constant, if I go for the variable option, then I can you have to define the profile. So if I select this as my sketching plane, I set it to default orientation, and then suppose, okay, I have to define the axis. So let me first define the axis. So this will be my axis, and then I can go to the line option, for example. Okay. Dimension the entities of let it be 400. Okay. This is, let us say, 200 units. I'm working in millimeters, so that is why I'm giving larger values. And of course, I can dimension these 2 points by giving the vertical distance and let it be 300 units. So this will be my desired shape for the profile. I have defined the axis also, so I will click on the axis button, and then it will ask you to enter the pitch value at the start, because I have used the variable pitch option. So now it will ask you to enter the pitch value at the start and then till the end. स्टार्ट पे कितना पिच से स्टार्ट होगा और कितने पिच पे एंड होगा. So suppose I want to start my threads at the pitch value of 30 units, and let us say the end value is 8 units. So this is basically that variation within the pitch, and it gives you the start point, which is this point, and the end point, which is this one. So it will start creating a helix with a pitch value of 30 units, and gradually it will increase. Similarly, you can decrease that. That will depend on the start and end point, and you can see that this pop-up that you can basically add additional point in between the start and end also. So we do have points like इंटरमीडिएट पॉइंट्स, दो पॉइंट्स हमारे पास हैं, एक ये पॉइंट है, एक ये पॉइंट है. So I can go for the selection of these points as well. So if I want to add another point in between the start and end, so I can click on the add. If you want to remove an existing point, so then you can remove, and you, if you want to change the value, so you can use this tab. So right now I am using the add point value option. So it will ask you to select that particular point. So if I click on this point, so now you can see in this figure that it has included that point also, and by default it will give certain pitch value that will depend on this graph basically. So you can change that. Suppose you say that uh, from start point to this particular point, the pitch remains the same. So if I write 30 units, you can see that the pitch value in between those 2 points will be 30 units. It does not change. And suppose if you want to add another point, so still I am in that particular option. So if I click on this particular point, so it will also come into the listing, and you can give any appropriate value to that. So suppose I say that from this point to this point, we have a pitch value of, let us say, from 30 to, let us say, 75. Okay. And then in between this point and this point, we have a very little variation of the pitch value, which increases from 75 to 80. You know, so here the pitch value will be constant. Here it will be increasing from 30 to 75 depending upon that height, and then from this point to this point it will change from 75 to 80 degrees. And at any point you can change that. So if you click on the change value option, pick any point, and you can then enter a new pitch value for that. So this is, I will click on the done return button, done, and now you will define the section. So section again, for example, if I start with a circle, and the pitch value is, let us say, it starts at 30. So suppose the total diameter is 20 units, and I click the check mark button, and then I want to check the preview. So this will be that preview. So from this to this point, the straight vertical line, we have a constant pitch value, and from this point to this point, the pitch gradually increases. And from this point onward, we have a very little change in the pitch value. So normally ये vertical line जो है इसमें भी आपको तकरीबन constant value ही नजर आती है. And rest of the methodology remain the same. You can change the profile, you can change the left hand, right hand option, you can change the section. So that's it for the helical sweep option. So in the next command, in the next video, basically, we will be covering the sweep cut option, sweep profile cut option. Helical sweep का जो cut है वो हम करेंगे इंशाल्लाह. So that's it.